Ready? Start. Sir, I come to another provision. Stop. In the statement of objects and regions, one of the objects mentioned is reducing unnecessary cost or burden by requiring companies to attach only an abridged form of prospectus to the application form. Stop. I would like to know specifically from the Honorable Minister which section of companies has represented that the cost of printing the balance sheet is prohibitive and they want to reduce it. Stop. I submit that in the annual report as presented today, there is a whole section dealing with listing of employees getting salaries of over rupees 3000. Stop. And I find that over the years this figure of 3000 is not increased. Stop. In this amending bill, there is some provision resulting in large companies having thousands of such employees and they are listing those employees, which itself takes up 30 or 40 pages of the balance sheet. Stop. Merely deleting that provision can bring down the cost of printing and that will not affect the small investors in any way. Stop. Instead of doing that, they have taken powers now suggest that it should be deleted altogether. Stop. A small shareholder is not interested in who is employed and what salary he is getting. Stop. He is only interested in knowing whether a director's relative has been employed and that was the original purpose. Stop para. This was inserted in the 60s when it was found that the wives or relatives of managing directors of the companies were appointed on high salaries. Stop. So a provision was inserted. At that time 3000 rupees was a very high salary. Stop. It was said that with regard to people drawing above 3000 rupees, details should be given. Stop. Today the law should be amended to the effect that if the director's relatives or those connected with the companies are employed by the company, details should be given. Stop. Probably after this provision, nobody's relative will be employed because it will come to the adverse notice of the government. Stop. But abridging the whole balance sheet to reduce costs is not good. We are seeing larger corporations instead of just giving information as required by the Companies Act, printing fancy balance sheets, color photographs, offset printing, etc. Certainly, they are not worried about the cost. It is a strange thing that the government is worried about reducing the cost unless we are talking about the balance sheets of the public sector companies, which is a different matter. Stop. But the companies which are doing so take pride in printing color balance sheets and it cannot be their representation, and in the name of reducing costs you cannot bar vital information from us. Stop para. Mr. Vice Chairman, sir, I am standing to support the bill, every clause of it, with all the amendments. Stop. However, I have a few suggestions. Stop. I would like the government and the minister to take note of them. Stop. The great and important leader of Europe told his ambassadors, if you go to London, go to the share market, then you will feel its pulse and know its health and politics. Stop. The share market is controlled remotely or fully by the company law board in our country. Stop. So any amendment to the company law in progressive way is going to help the growth, economic growth. Stop. If it is otherwise, it will be detrimental to the growth. Stop. What is happening today in our country in the field of company law and how it is functioning? Question mark para. The company law is represented in the states by registrar of companies. Stop. Today, in the eyes of the law, everyone is equal. Whether you are a company with 2 persons or with rupees 20,000 capital or hundreds of shareholders with hundreds and crores of shares, the forms and formats made are the same for everyone. Stop. On the one hand, you suggest that companies should be run properly with proper professional management, with better auditors and company secretaries. On the other hand, you also allow a person or a group of even 2 persons, husband and wife, or son and father, to form a company. Stop. In such a case, he is the producer, he is the engineer, he is the clerk, he is the typist, he is the accountant, and hence he has no time to look into other things and understand all the forms. Stop. The result is that hundreds of cases are filed against such companies. Stop. Only in Kanpur there must be 1000 such cases in which the party has failed to submit some forms, some reports, or some pro forma. There is a nexus between a few liars and the registrar of companies. Stop. Either in Patna or in Kanpur or anywhere in the state capitals, hundreds of cases are filed. If you fail to submit these forms, you have to pay a penalty and suffer prosecution. Stop. The penalty is very minimal. It is rupees 25 or rupees 50, but the word prosecution is also there. The result is that small businessmen who are afraid of going to jail have to go and face the magistrate.